Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jody. I'm a painter that's allergic to paint because I have a condition called contact dermatitis, which makes my skin react poorly to things like paint. To start off the vlog, let's varnish this old painting that I plan to sell soon. I can feel my art teacher like judging me from afar just with how I'm varnishing this painting, but an update on the Berkeley white gesso. If you look closely, there's cracks everywhere. I'm not used to seeing cracks with gesso, so I don't know, maybe I used it wrong? Let's paint a master study. I've decided I wanted to have an acrylic study of a painting detail of St. Paul by Peter Paul Rubens, circa 1611. On my previous video, someone commented that they wanted a more in-depth explanation of the process. I'm gonna try. So the first step to almost any acrylic painting is a sketch and then staining. You can see here I am using just a little bit of burnt sienna and I'm staining the canvas completely. I am actually using a canvas panel right now. It's already been gessoed and we're just gonna let this one dry. Once it's dried, we can move on to our next step, which is layering. Here I'm adding the first layer of, I believe, a mix of ultramarine and phthalo blue. This is a technique I use usually for watercolors, but since acrylic, gouache, and watercolors are like cousins, you can intertwine. You can try the same techniques from one medium to another.
Why, did you see something? Oh.
Once I figured out where I'm going to put my darkest and lightest values, I'm going to add a much darker color for my background. It's just regular layering. You have to paint which is farthest away and layer by layer apply what is closest to the viewer. To further discuss how I'm going to layer this painting, first, clearly I did the background, the inner clothing, followed by this blue cloth. I think it's a robe, I'm not sure, but it's pretty and it's nice and it's fabric, and fabric lays nicely in a lot of these paintings. After that, I'm going to do the sword and then the hands. So like I said, furthest away and layer by layer what's closer to the viewer.
What is the thing that I want to capture the most with the light things? Oh, I'm doing it using tone and decorating it is super duper simple.
After procrastinating finishing this painting or continuing it, I noticed that the shade of the fabric wasn't as warm blue as it needed to be. So you can see here, I applied a very light wash of ultramarine blue. You would call this a glaze in multi-medium paintings or oil paintings. It actually looks good. I have this concoction that I use for acrylic painting. I use this really old spray bottle. Your friendly acrylic retarder. I'm using one from Mont. This is 90 pesos. So give or take $2. And water. What you're going to do is you just put water inside a spray bottle, and then you get your acrylic retarder, and then you just, there's a more cleaner way to do this, but I just get that in there. That much should do. You don't need a lot, just enough. And then you cover it up and shake. Once it's shook, it should look a little bit like this. The bubbles will disappear eventually. Spray it on your palette so that the paint doesn't dry up as fast. Because personally, I'm too lazy to mix my acrylic retarder with every single drop of paint I put in there. I find that this is just faster for me. You can spray this on a painting you're working on, and the paint won't dry as quickly, even without a acrylic retarder on your paint. So yeah. Further procrastination has given this painting 2 weeks or a week before I continued it again. The main problem that I found is that I didn't take note of the ratios of the warmth of the paint. Usually I don't need to worry about that, but for some reason when I was going to paint the right side of the fabric, it didn't seem like I was matching it to the same color. Maybe because I glazed it with ultramarine blue, but for some reason I couldn't match it to the right side at all. So this had a lot of retries, and I also had to remove that left hand because of how hard the painting was. It was like, I don't know, for some reason this particular master study took me some time. After I finally finished the hand and decided to remove the other hand and cover it with the fabric, I've decided to use the same varnish I would use for the paintings that I sell. Typically I would just use a regular emulsion, but I thought, might as well just use this varnish. It's not the usual varnish you would use, but this is good for outdoor varnish since it has UV protection, which is very important to me.